Hi, my name is Noshad, some of you guys know me as Shumon, and this is Spurs Beer Podcast. First of all, after a week of everyone fretting and throwing, because let's face it, we've had this happen to us before. Being linked with a very talented Brazilian international, he's done well in the tournament, we've made overtures to sign him, at the last minute, get gazumped, but he gives us a nice letter. But no, we have signed a man who plays for Brazil. Bienvenido, Paulinho. Como vai? I'm hoping that's correct. No, it's a great deal. When I first saw Paulinho, saw him against England, and obviously scored a great goal, but this guy was like very different. He was getting up and down, real box to box, and I was thinking, wow, this will be he looks like a decent player. And obviously, you're looking at tons of players, but he looked like a real talented player because I think we're looking at a lot of players, and you're just looking and think, wow, he kind of stood out. And you're kind of wondering, well, why is he coming to us? Because if you think about it, the player he's been compared with the most, and oh my god, actually, you notice my tan lines. Ah, love the sun here. The player he's been compared with the most is Frank Lampard. And Frank Lampard's 33, 34, and probably in the last year, 2 years tops. So you'd be thinking, well, you want a big name signing, why don't sign him? And obviously, I think he's very similar to Ramirez, who obviously Chelsea signed, and he's been an excellent player for them. But you're thinking, well, yeah, he's kind of more offensive, especially for Corinthians. He's was it 7 assists, 8 goals in 25 games. I don't know how strong the Brazilian league is compared to the Premier League, but that's still impressive. You still have to take your chances, you still have to make the assists. And in the Confederation Cup, we saw some amazing talent. I mean, for me, one of my favourite players was apart from the obvious like Neymar and Paulinho. I mean, players like Pirlo and especially Honda, but we'll move on to him later. But no, I just thought, man, this is a solid player. And you're thinking, well, how come we're getting him? Because on the surface, we don't really need a player like that. I mean, I'm saying not saying it's not. I think it's an excellent signing, but you think, well, we've got Sandro, we've got Dembele. Do we really need, you know? But I think if you saw what I like about Paulinho is that he's got an incredible skill set, and I think he will definitely help us go to 4-3-3, especially away from home. That triumvirate of Sandro, Paulinho, and Dembele. I mean, he's very strong. He's very strong. It's quick. All three have put their foot in, and all three can play a bit. Obviously, Dembele is a real playmaker. Can glide it, slalom like. Paulinho with his timing and his runs. Sandro's the destroyer and just hot of everything. But and then until everyone's going to call Paulinho, Paul. I'm gonna go for Paulie, so like Paulinho, Paulie. I'm gonna go for Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos. I've never seen The Sopranos. I've only seen one episode, but apparently he was a real tough guy. So yeah, Paulie Walnuts. That's my nickname for Paulinho. But no, I just think in a 4-3-3 I think it works brilliantly because if we had fun counter, the way I look at it, teams that come to White Hart Lane are looking for the draw. If you can get a point away from home, that is amazing. To get 3 points, obviously that's what you want, but a point away from home is a significant achievement. So when you're at home, you want to get at least 3 points. You want to win all your home games. Some you may draw. Like obviously if you're playing the champions like Man United or the really Chelsea's, your Man Cities. But again, maybe your Tottenham's and Arsenal's. But you really want to against say you like some of Arsenal's. You're thinking, well, they're a good side, but I want to really get 3 points. So I think a 4-3-3 works brilliantly, and I think because the skill set between those three is fantastic, and I think if the rumour that Villa is true, and if say Benteke, and I mean this with all due respect to Aston Villa fans, because obviously he's been a great signing for you guys. I'd love a player like that playing for Tottenham, but he chooses not to go. I'm not like, oh, we should tap him up because I think that's really disrespectful. I'll leave that shit to Real Madrid. Even though there they are, Los Blancos, and we are also the Lily Whites. I like to think we do things with a little more class and style than they do. But a 4-3-3, someone like Benteke or a power forward. I think Logren would have been ideal. Because he can play on the right wing. He's a wing forward, has the height and the pace, and obviously can get goals. We saw for a very poor QPR side that got relegated. He can get goals, but you know, obviously with this rape allegation, which again can't talk much about, he denies the charge. But you know, I can imagine a lot of times thinking, well, you know, I don't really want to touch him. 70 grand a week, this rape allegation, it's you know, it's a little bit, you know, who knows? Maybe you know, come January, clubs go in for him. But right now, it's not really safe to go in for him right now. It's just there's too much risk to that. But for me, I'm thinking with Paulinho, you know, I think 4-3 is not a month. I think at home though, I think that'd be a bit too defensive. Unless I'm just creative, and then Bele can drive, you know, and so can you know Paulinho. But I think he'll be either. I think he'll be in two out of those three. I mean, that's just my feeling on the matter version. I think because I think this benefits the fact that you know you can have Paolo and Sandro, you can have Paolo, you know, Dembele, Paulinho, and Dembele, and you can have Dembele and Sandro. I think all you know out of those you know those three permutations work very very well. And I think although they bring power and skill, yeah, don't get me wrong, I think that bit of guile, that bit of ingenuity, that bit of inventiveness that you get from, like, a Luka Modric or a Van der Vaart, I'm not saying you won't get from them, but you don't really think of it. I'm going to get that lovely, sublime pass, that little bit of vision that, you know, obviously, I mean, like, let's face it, I mean, Paulinho, that assist, that pass to Neymar, I mean, great goal by Fred, great cross by Neymar, and wonderfully lofted ball by him. And I think, no disrespect to Parker, I mean, this is the player of the year for us, and but afterwards, obviously, he got the injury. He's not really been able to get someone who's rushed back in because obviously Sandro got injured, Cog came straight in, no pre-season. That's a different system, and obviously he didn't have a Luka Modric that you can just give the ball to. Because I love Parker, he'd win the ball, go all the way, and then 360, you get to pass it back because he just hasn't got that ability to see the pass or draw past someone. I don't think Paulinho will have that. I think he's got the skill and the confidence to use his skill to attack in the final third. And although obviously they've mean a lot, so very similar to Jose Mourinho, he's a 4-3-3, very successful with Chelsea. I think football's moved on since then, and I think it does borrow a lot from, say, Arrigo Sacchi. And everyone's going, oh, it's 4-3-3. That's the classical, Mourinho. He's copied Mourinho. Actually, Mourinho was more, Arrigo Sacchi said, look, give me a player. I don't want a specialist. I want a player that can do as many things as possible. Because yes, you're very good at winning the ball, but what do you do with the ball? Yes, you're very good with the ball, but what can you do without it? And that concept of is not a new concept. I remember reading about Guardiola saying, "I know you're the best player with the ball." To Messi, I want you to become the best player without the ball. That concept is nothing new. Sacchi was using that years before that. But as everything, things come into fashion, things come out. But that concept, I think, is very, very valid, especially at this high pressure, high intensity pace game. So I'm definitely going to go. I think I'm actually going 4-2-3-1. Obviously, that Henry, I can't pronounce the name. The one I can chat with the next. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund signing. Whether we were seriously in for him, I don't think so. I think if Liverpool would have gone in for him, I think we could have tried to gazump them. But Borussia Dortmund, I don't know if we can get wages. Could we compete? No. But they're playing with a, Jurgen Klopp is one of those highly rated coaches. Borussia Dortmund is an awesome stadium from what Pete tells me, and and they're a great club to play for. So obviously, they'll rise up in the European Champions League final. So I'm really pissed about that. I'm sorry to all Bayern Munich fans, but because of last year, 2012, I'm bitter. I will always hate Bayern Munich. Can you let Chelsea win the European Cup? I mean, dude, they didn't even win it. Do you know what the worst thing is? We have to hear, we know what we are, champions of Europe. We know what we are. And I'm like, no, you scrape through penalties and the way I look at it, and I say this in all honesty, I remember watching they kind of Huron Gracie their way through. Now don't go to Morris. I just remember that when I talk about beating position, but because he didn't submit in, it was a draw. And if it went to penalties, maybe Huron want to sneak it through. That for me is what Chelsea was. Now they're a much better side. I mean, they've got Oscar, Mata, and Hazard, and those three amigos. I mean, that midfield, that is a sensational midfield. If you look at it, I mean, I still think it's got a weak underbelly. I don't think it's their ability to win the ball back will be, it's questionable. But the creativeness of that midfield, you can't underestimate that. And so again, Arsenal, I hate to mention that, Arsenal, their three, their front, their first choice three, midfield three of, was it Cazorla, can get you goals. Will, not going to mention that guy's name. I'm not going to call him what I really want to call him because he might sue. And Arteta, I actually quite like Arteta. I always liked him when I was at Everton. They can all pass the ball, but that's a very good midfield, and I think it'll be in the third, fourth, and fifth. I think it'll be a three-horse race between us. Man City may drop in there, you never know, but I think between Chelsea, Arsenal, and us, I think it'll be a three-horse race. And obviously, you've got Liverpool as well. See how well they do. But I think Paulinho is going to be an excellent signing for that. Obviously, David Villa, people saying, oh, he's injured. I think he had one broken leg, which is obviously a serious injury. Don't get me wrong, that is a serious injury. But I think we forget that Luka Modric, well, didn't really break his leg. He wanted his leg broken by Lee Bowyer. That wonderful, wonderful man that Lee Bowyer is. And yeah, he came back. I think, yes, there are horrific injuries. I mean, obviously, remember the Eduardo injury. That was a horrific injury. But it does happen. And some players can come back from career-ending injuries and somehow become a lot better. I mean, Van Nistelrooy, let's not forget, had a horrible, he was out for a year, I think, with that knee injury. And I think he was one of Man United's best players in that period, when they were really dominating. Or them in Arsenal, but they were really doing really well at that time. And so I think some players can come back. So definitely David Villa, he brings that experience, and I think more importantly he can play a central striker. And I think we've got him, possibly a powerful forward like Benteke. Obviously we're not going to get Amubang. I haven't seen the guy play. I know he's got very good stats for St. Etienne. The reason I'll be a bit worried about him, and again, I think when you start an African international, you have to worry because we play through. We don't have winter break. If you're, in Germany, I think they have winter break. In Russia, they also have to have winter break because it's so cold there. In this country, because we don't have winter break, and for January you do lose players, and you lose players for at least mostly with Adebayor. Let's face it, we lost him. I must admit, I've been seeing on Facebook stuff like, "Oh, sell me, I'm shit." That is. I was at a game in Southampton, and I was sat behind the guy, and all he did was for 90 minutes just say, "Oh, you're shit, you're a cunt, you're this, you're that," and I'm like, "Why the fuck are you there? Are you there because shit? These players earn £90 a week, so you think, well, do you know what? I pay my £3,000 a year just to have a go at these players that earn so much money. Well, I play well, I'll cheer them. Shut up." I just think, dollars are donuts. I think, if Adebayor had the season he had when he was on loan, it would be forgiven. But when he has a bad game, he'll be like, "Oh, Adebayor was a mercenary." Yeah, he's frustrating. Yes, he didn't have a full pre-season, and that was down to him. But at the end of the day, football isn't the longest of careers, and I don't blame anyone for trying to make as much money as they can while they can. The people have got Benny for saying, "Oh, he's a mercenary, he doesn't give a shit." Well, why should he? He's very. I mean, I know guys that I don't know. Let's say you work at Greg the Bakers. Oh, can you imagine those guys? Are they going to go? "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about what I debate today," or whether you worked in a pie shop or you worked in, I don't know, fish and chips. Oh, you thinking about fish and chips as you no. So why do you think that from footballers? Yes, football for some is, for footballers, they have an ability to make a living, an incredible living from what most people consider a passion or a hobby. And they're very, very fortunate to be able to do so. But, I think some of the expectations are just stupid. And Benny, something I'll go into later, I think Benny's seen a lot of shit. Even though we forget, he had injuries. New system we haven't get used to. The loss of Bale from the left flank, so that made it very difficult because he has no cover. Aaron Lennon is is an amazing player because the amount of protection he gives Kyle Walker, the amount of covering he does. Clint Dempsey, Siggy, good players, but they cut in. But, Benny's exposed. And what's he gonna do? He's gonna hoof it up to what? I was watching that game at Southampton, and there was no one for him to pass to. No one to make that run down the left-hand flank. So who's going to pass to? And you have a go for giving the ball away. Well, what's he going to do? He can't just lob it up there. He's going to go for the middle, which is already congested. So for me, I think a lot of the Benny hate. I think Kyle Walker. I don't know because he's English, and I don't know because he's he's a Yorkshire lad, and he's all honest and wears heart on the sleeve. But for me, I think he doesn't. For me, Kyle Walker, I like the guy, but He doesn't know, positioning is still very, very poor, and more importantly, his ability to defend the blind side is very, very poor. The amount of times people have got, I think a lot of players will find in their feet. I think people saying that David is 31. He's a year older than Jermaine Defoe. I think he's a lot better than Jermaine Defoe. And I think if you can sell Jermaine Defoe for say 6, 7 million and buy David Villa for what, say 9 million, that's essentially David Villa for 3 million over 2, 3 years. Because I think you're not going to get really more than say 2, 3 years more out of Jermaine Defoe anyway. So I think that's an excellent deal. Personal, that's just my personal feelings of the matter. Um, Definitely, so that's and I haven't seen Soldado, I haven't seen Negredo, so I can't really make comparisons. I do question a little bit. Again, I don't know why that. I mean, Torres for me, I saw him in the Federations Cup. One of my mates was giving God knows how much stick. Spanish mates giving a lot of stick, and I was like, man, that's a bit harsh. But yes, it's true because I think Torres isn't that good a player for Spain. I mean, he's lost that yard of pace. Doesn't look as fully confident as he was when when he was at Liverpool, when he was scoring goals for fun. And for me, again, it's just me. I just think you got to wonder why don't they play Villa? Why don't they play Lorente or Soldado or Negredo? I just don't get it. So maybe he doesn't really fit in with the tiki-taka style. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is, but I just don't get it personally. I mean, Lorente, an excellent player, so, scored loads of La Liga, doing very well for Juventus. Negredo, Soldado, good players. I think if you're banning about 25 million for players who are in their mid-20s, mid to late 20s, I think Benteke for 20 plus 5 million add-ons, I think it's a good deal. That's just my feeling on the matter. 20 million plus add-ons, I think Villa will basically triple their money in less than a season, and 20 million plus add-ons, I think is a good deal for all parties. And if I wanted to be, I'd say, look, well, 50 million plus 10 million add-ons, that's 25 million. I think, the one thing you'd be worried about is that will he get loads of attention? Because he scored so many goals, second season syndrome. But I think that's more likely to happen at Villa anyway. Everyone will be looking at Benteke a lot more. And I remember he had a stonewall trying against us and didn't really take it. But then obviously settling into the Premiership. Now he's a lot more. His sights are more heightened and more. Do you know when you shoot a gun or something and you scope sights and you do that? I don't know. I'm not a rifle guy, but I'm assuming when you get your sights better. I think he's more used to the Premiership. I think he's a lot more. I think he'll be a lot more prolific. Second syndrome is always alright. I call it Michael Ricketts syndrome. But for me, definitely not something I look sign. But I think you got David Villa, a lot expected of him because he's David Villa. He's a World Cup winner, European Championships, twice. Done very well with Barcelona, won the European Cup with them. A lot is expected of him. You got Gareth Bale, 19, 20 odd goals, a lot is expected of him. And whoever else we're going, if we're not a big name signing, I don't think we signed Bernard. And I think that'll be an interesting thing. Because obviously, if we were, I don't know, again, it's paper talk. We've been linked to a load of players. Obviously, we've been linked to the two Croatian lads. How that's going to go, I have no idea. I've never seen them play. For me, for these Croatian lads, I don't want to bring straight into the Premiership because that's a real baptism of fire. Me personally, it's not that work permits. I would actually bring them into, say, a German or a Dutch league, and then a year later get into a German league, and then bring them over, so they get to play a progressively high level of football that's similar to ours. So let's say Dutch, then German, then the Premiership, and then by that time they'll have played those games, they've got them under their belt, and we'll see how good they are. But again, so much paper talk, so we'll go from there. I still would like to sign Alderweireld, but again, it's it's not, again, Uniska Ball, he's out for a season. That's first the knee and then another injury. Pace is a huge part of Capoul's game. His athleticism is a huge part of his game. And I'm not saying he won't adapt. Some players are able to adapt. We don't know. So I think for cover, I think that'd be a good idea. Obviously, you've got players like Adam Smith. For me, players like Adam Smith, Jake Livermore, Harry Kane, they've got to get loan deals to Premier League clubs. Especially though, Adam Smith, Jay Livermore especially as well. Andros isn't it? Andros is just one because everyone's saying, "Oh God, we shouldn't have got rid of Andros." I said, and again, I've talked to another YouShubes, but I'll say it again. Um, the We were saying that because he got given the chance at QPR. Because QPR had hunted something. Let's face it. I think Harry knew that. It would take a miracle to stay up. He got a run of games. He knew he'd be starting games, and he's able to play football. He would not have got that start at Tottenham unless Aaron Lennon got injured. I mean, let's face it. Aaron Lennon really got his start, if you think about it, because Wayne Routledge got injured, and because Wayne Routledge never really was able to recover from that, lost that their perform, lost their confidence. And he's doing well at Swansea, but he never really hit those heights that people were expecting him to have made. Aaron got the ball, ran with it. So I think definitely he's someone I'd look to keep. He's someone that you could definitely bring in, rotating with Aaron Lennon, and especially if you're looking to play that 4-2-3-1. If you're playing Bale centrally, again, then I'm not saying I wouldn't play 4-3-3, but maybe he might, and a bunch of us might say, you know what, I want to play Siggy on the left wing of that three, Bale rotating in the middle, and maybe Andros on that side, just to see how that looks. So I think he gives us that option. I definitely would like to see how he does this season. I think 22-23, I've met Andros, a lovely guy. He needs to be playing. But yeah, I think it's a great signing for Spurs. You got to wonder why, say, Arsenal didn't go for him though, because you'd think he'd be an excellent signing for Arsenal. Arsenal again play a 4-3-3. I think he'd fit in very well with us. And I'm very impressed with the fact that if you look at it, over the last year anyway, Tongan would have been a player that Arsenal would have wanted, but we got them. Then I don't know if they would have been interested in at all. I don't know. I'm not sure because obviously I think in Walsh they've got a much superior player. And I hate to say it, but he is a very, very good player. And he's just, his passing is just superb. But you've got, but then someone like Lloris. I know they're going to say Cesar, but you'd have thought Lloris would have been like, he knows the French league. But don't get me wrong. I think one of the things that take advantage of that, Wenger, obviously AVB was linked to a PSG job, but I think there was that rumour that Wenger was being touted for it. I think he has a link with the PSG owners. He's given some advice about Al Jazeera Sports or something. I don't know how it works, but it's an interesting thing. I think where if I was an Arsenal player, I'm thinking, well, is he going to stick around? Are they going to have the same problem that say Alex Ferguson had when he said, "Look, I'm retiring." He announced it very early, and then their season went to shit. Wenger, they made uncertainty. Yes, he signed Sonogo, which I think is an excellent signing. 20 years old, free transfer, great signing. He's going to cut it in the Premier League. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Shamak, on the surface, 6'2", 6'3", I think played very well for Bordeaux. He seems to have the qualities, but he's not the kind of classical Arsenal player. As you found out. Obviously, they haven't signed Hwan. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I would be a little bit. I'm not sure if I'd sign him or not. That's just my personal thing. But no, I think this season I'm looking forward to it now. Obviously last season was disappointing, but I think with Paulie Walnuts, our midfield we've got options there. And obviously, I mean, let's face it, Lewis Holtby, if he gets a great pre-season, like I'm hoping he will, I mean, not just Lewis Holtby, obviously, YouTube can make anyone look brilliant, but the stuff I saw him do, the awareness, the ability to find players and to pass, I mean, he looked, he definitely had a real footballing brain, that Sheringham style brain to see angles. Some of his passes weren't over here. He doesn't know the pace of the Premiership. He's still getting used to it, but I'd call him like a mini Sheringham in some respect because from what I saw on YouTube, on YouTube, the passing he was doing, some of the skill and the ability, he looked like a speedy version out. I don't want to say Zola because I think Zola was an amazing player. And I don't want to rate Zola's I know he was a Chelsea player, but my God, that guy had ability. But I just think there was elements of it. I don't know, that low centre of gravity, good feet, good balance. I would like to see him, do something similar like that for us. I think 4-3-3 can do it at 4-2-3-1, playing just behind the forward in that Van der Vaart role. We'll see. I think we have definitely our midfield. I thought we had a strong midfield last season. I think we've got a much stronger midfield, going forward. I still think we need a deep line play. I don't know why we're not going for Honda. I mean, I just don't get it, but we'll see. And at the back, I think Adam Smith's going to be a solid right back. Carl Norton, I'll get him out on loan. I just don't see him. People say he doesn't rate Benny, but he didn't rate Michael Dawson, and then Michael Dawson proved him wrong. Who knows? Maybe Benny can prove ABB wrong. Okay, he has a good pre-season, puts in some good performances. He proves him wrong because, I don't know what Danny Rose said about I'm going to go back to sit on the bench. That for me, maybe he's frustrated because he thinks, well, maybe my boss doesn't rate me, that's why he sent me out. I just think, I think pre-season, is blank slate. I think obviously we've seen with what Moyes and Rooney, what happened in the past. It's a new season. Show what you can do. And I think that goes with all the players. If Addy Bayol can show the ability we all know he's got, he has a great pre-season and he shows that ability and he really applies himself. We might be saying, well, shit, do we need to buy another player? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching YouShubes. I'm sorry it's been a while, but I really wanted to wait until we signed Paulie Walnuts. That's his unit name. I've got the gloves there because he's a bit of a tough guy. He can play, he can put stars in. I think he's a complete midfielder. I don't want to compare him to Hullet, because Hullet is one of the greatest players I've ever seen, but he's got that complete package. He can pass, he can shoot, he can tackle, he's got the energy. I think the Premier League will test him because it's a lot more physical, the pace of it. You kind of worry because I remember there was a player that I saw, he went to Sunderland, Sana, and I said, you know what, he's going to get some tons, he'll give himself sent off for loads of bookings because flying tackle. I think there's an intelligence about Paulinho, and I think there's an intelligence about the guy because what I liked about him, I said, a lot of Spurs fans saying, oh, why isn't he signed? I said, look, you know what? He's moved to Europe before. It didn't work out. It did not work out for him before. And you know what? I can't blame a player thinking, well, you know what? I want to take my mind thinking about it. They've accepted it, but you know what? I want to focus on winning the Confederation Cup of Brazil. Right now, that's all that matters to me. And then afterwards, we'll sort that out. But right here, right now, that shows a single minded and a real intelligence. And if he can bring that to us, and I think, I wouldn't say we're soft Spurs. I think under AVB we found an incredible resilience. I mean, that Man United game, alright, we had some disappointing results, but we've shown, against the big sides, we can, fight back. I think, for me personally, we have to now start doing it against the quote-unquote not big sides, or, I don't want to call them small sides, but not, sides that you don't really, the times you would favour us to win. I think we have to start winning those games. So, because Norwich, Stoke, West Brom, we won any of those home games, we're in Champions League. We didn't. That's something that can't happen again. We need to be winning those games. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, hopefully we can sign up. I'm not doing a Honda joke with that last time, but again, I like to see Tom Carroll give him a shot, but I honestly think, I don't know if he'll qualify for the Europa League, but if we do, then I'd like to see him give it a shot, see how he does. And I think, because I don't remember, because I think it was last couple of years ago, was it against, who did we play? Is it Hearts? I don't know if it's qualified for the Europa League again. I'm not too sure, but if we do, I would look to say, look, start Jay Livermore, start Tom Carroll, start Andros, start all these young players, and say, look, over 2 legs, this you're only playing 2 legs. If there's no injuries and you play well here tonight, you're playing the next game. Show me what you can do, because you'll be guaranteed I'll start you both games. And even if you play shit, I'll start you at the home game as well on the away leg, because go either way. But I'll start you both games as long as there are no injuries. I'll start you both games. I'm not too late about it. I'll start you. Because AB's shown to be a man of his word. He kept his word to Brad Friedel when. In all honesty, I don't think he should have. I think he should have given Hugo Lloris a chance, especially when we started playing a very, very good Swiss side. Young boys, was it young boys? I forgot what they called. Not the young boys, but that Swiss side we played. But Basel. I thought that. I mean, as good as Friedel was, corners and coming for it. I think the adjustment to go from one goalkeeper style to another, I don't think was right. I think he's a great goalkeeper, but I want to Hugo Lloris because obviously he's a goalkeeper. I think he can start all his games, and I think that's just the precedent because I think they say the goalkeeper is the most important position, because he can make or break you, and I think starting from there, and then you get a system working off that goalkeeper by having that consistency. Yeah, you change the defenders around him, but keeping that consistency going forward. I still think that third is possible for us. I don't think the title's really our grasp, but we're settled. I think of all the teams, I mean, even Arsene Wenger, you've got to be worrying about whether he's going to go because he's got a year left his contract. He hasn't signed a new contract, obviously, because he can say, look, he'll go on. His contract expires. PSG, Real, all those top clubs say, we'll sign you. 10 million, shit, we'll sign you. Yeah, here's 10 million. So he's a very smart guy. I'm not saying they're not as stable, but because he's saying, look, we've got loads of firepower. I don't know who's trying to sell that more to, other players or to Wenger himself, because it's just like, he's saying we're going to spend. Well, that's not really Wenger's style, for me personally. So I think he will spend money at PSG. I think he will be expected to, and he will go after top talent. But I think it's more better to keep that talent. Obviously, like your Man Cities can gazump you. That's Nasri. What was it? 25 million for playing a lot 1 year. 25. Well, how many million? Van Persie, is it 30 million? Or 25 million for playing last year, 29. So I think that's a very, very interesting thing. I think the way it goes. But I'm really looking forward to this, and I'll hopefully see some of you guys at the Espanyol game, friendly. Going to be in the coaching horses, so come along, say hi, and if you're part of YouTubes, give me a shout. I'm going to say a big shout out to Major Hank, Super Spurs, Bolo Tabazi, Eggsy, Debs, who I love, Spurs Bear on Spurs Odyssey, one of the most loveliest fans, people I know, the lovely Mel, I don't know what the Spurs Odyssey handle is, Spooky, Greasy, some mates from Spurs Forum, on that bombshell, or Bombers, Dom, Eggsy again, and just some really cool guys there. Tiffers, some really cool guys on Spurs from Cage. But, and it's been an honour doing this YouTubes, and hopefully there'll be another YouTubes coming up pretty soon. So and on that bombshell, all I ask you is that if you click on the ad links and help support this, and I appreciate doing this. Feel free to post, comment, and I'll happily reply to you. And as always, come on, you Spurs! And just on a side note, this is John White. I got to meet his. I met my first wag. I met his widow. She was so lovely. I only gave her a hug. She was just the most loveliest person in the world. I think her name's Sandra, and she was just so nice and really, really lovely person. And I think what sort of says about Spurs, I would. Because obviously it's been 10 years of Abramovich, and they won Premier League titles and also won the Champions League. And obviously, part of you's a little bit envious because who wouldn't be, winning all that. But let's face it, you can buy it. To earn it is another thing. Because let's face it, it's financial doping. You might they just taken a financial steroid. That's all it is. They had a massive injection. That's the best way of saying it. If you've had an injection and suddenly you go and winning everything, whether it's cash or then let's face it, have you really earned it? And you may know it's a big money machine, but they've always been that, and the Premier League's now enabled them to become that. But for me personally, I think if you look at Man City, the guys put in 2 billion. Etihad, they're not owned by us. Dude, it's a related party transaction. I don't care what the fuck you call it. It's a related party transaction. Yeah, they put in at least what 2 billion, at least a billion, if not two. And yeah, Man City they used to be the butt of a lot of you know Arsenal, Man U fans, and we used to be the butt of Arsenal fans. But I like to think that on a stadium that's what, almost half the size of theirs. And oh yeah, we used to spend money in the past, but we're not spending like loads of money, not like Man City, Chelsea do, or even Liverpool do. We actually are doing pretty well. I like to see that. I think we're earning it. And I think that come next season we'll finish third or fourth, and I really think we can do it because I believe the future's bright, the future's very bright. Adios, amigos.